Yeah, my name is Sebastian Birk. I'm working at the University of Duisburg-Essen, and I am the project coordinator of a new innovation project, MERLIN, funded by the European Commission. And this is what I would like to talk about today. So, when we think about the needs of restoring freshwaters and look at the legal obligations, the legal targets within the European Union, we see that there's a lot of restoration needs, because when we merge an assessment of the Habitats Directive and the Water Framework Directive and then project it onto the pan-European scale, we see that most areas are failing to meet the target of these environmental directives. And the question is, why are we so poor in bringing back the status of our freshwaters to good and to have habitats that are conserved? And a recent review, a recent expert evaluation just shows various reasons for why we are so poor in doing restoration of our systems. First of all, it's about the lack of funding, the lack of money to do restoration. Second, it's about conflicting interests of the actors on the ground, that they have different opinions about how to restore or not to restore. And finally, it's low on the political agenda. So, against this background, we have started the MERLIN project to overcome some of these barriers, or to start overcoming some of these barriers. So, some brief sketch about the MERLIN project. It's our response to a call, the Green Deal call in the final year of the Horizon 2020. And it has 45 partners included from various institutions, so you already see it's quite a big project we are dealing with. It has an overall budget of 21 million euro that we are coordinating, and out of which half goes into active restoration projects. And it has started last autumn and runs for 4 years. So we're in the first year of this big challenge, and our ambition is to contribute to societal transformation. Nothing less but this. Centerpiece of the MERLIN project are the 17 restoration cases that are, well, spread all over Europe. And we have clustered these cases into 3 key ecosystem types: the peatlands and wetlands, the small streams and their basins, and the large transboundary rivers. Because we think that all of these clusters have their particular challenges when it comes to restoration to tackle. And you can even think about these 17 restoration cases as being located in a hypothetical catchment. So MERLIN is striving at pursuing catchment scale or landscape scale restoration approaches. Another step in the MERLIN project will be optimizing the existing 17 cases. So from these 17 cases, we have 16 restoration projects where we implement additional measures to understand a before-after scenario. So this is, for instance, more dam removal in the Basque Country, because the Basque people are the dam removal champions already in Europe. And MERLIN will engage in more dam removal here. We have, for instance, experiments on beaver reintroductions in Sweden to understand how these engineers can help in restoring river systems. And we have, as an example, urban catchment in the Emscher area, the installment of flowering buffer strips. And all of this will be evaluated against the IUCN Global Standard for Nature-Based Solutions. So you can already see that our focus is not on the environmental benefits, but very much on the socio-economic benefits of restoration, because this is where the barriers lie, as I told before. And these global standards are linked in the MERLIN project to indicators to understand how much restoration contributes to reaching the European Green Deal targets. So this is a specific focus on the targets of the European Green Deal. And we are planning to concentrate on amplifying, on upscaling restoration from these 17 cases into the area by planning for scalability with mid-term to long-term prospects. So, as I said, it's about amplifying, it's about magnifying, it's about upscaling European restoration into the area. Looking at the barriers, how do we tackle to overcome these barriers in the MERLIN project? So, first of all, about insufficient funding. What we have already observed in the first year of analyzing the status quo, many of the restoration projects and project managers are addicted to public grants. So the question is, do we have a chance also to get private funding? And the issue is that we often observe a lack of, well, let's call it entrepreneurial attitudes. So where do we get private money from? This is the question, and people are not trained and experienced in this regard. And there's also a lack of, say, networking. So many projects are kind of on their own, and they cannot tap the opportunities, the benefits of alliance building by, for instance, sharing machinery for restoration, which would save them from buying the machinery. Or engage in community action to have people helping voluntarily in the restoration work. So overall, when it comes to private investments, we observe a poor investor readiness of existing projects. And this is where MERLIN wants to come in to bring more investor readiness to the projects. And this is, for instance, by establishing financial planning workflow. You see that we aim for this by the end of this project, but we are already in an ongoing discussion with it in this regard. So it's about project funding. One pillar is without repayment, again using public grants, but also thinking about private donations or crowdfunding. While on the other hand, it's about planning for commercial revenues. And here, think about business plans for marketable products, or even payment for ecosystem services. And this is an aspect that we will look deeper into over the coming time by establishing our so-called financial off-the-shelf instruments, by looking into different sources of alternative funding away from the public grant addiction. Another very, very important barrier to overcome is about conflicting interests of the different actors in the area. And here we understand and we know from the social scientists that there are certain key governance factors. For instance, first understanding who are my actors, what are the power constellations, and what are the actors' interests. And then we have a cross-sectoral, multi-level coordination to be achieved, which is a lot of communication, a lot of understanding, but river basin management planning already helped us in doing that. And finally, it's about inclusive planning and implementation. So these are quite some hurdles that within the MERLIN project, we would like to support overcoming these. And key players in this regard are the economic sectors like agriculture, hydropower, peat mining industry, navigation, water supply, and finally the insurance sector. And when we think about how ready are these key economic sectors in implementing nature-based solutions, in using restoration in their businesses, you see that there's a certain level of readiness that you can assign with, especially the insurance companies and the water supply are very much in favor of implementing nature-based solutions. This is what we already understood. But still we are lacking this landscape scale approach, and this is what we would like to pursue in the MERLIN project. So finally, I'd like to close with a quote that I recently heard when I was visiting the Basque country colleagues, as I said, the champions of dam removal. It's about somebody saying pursuing river restoration means winning the hearts of the people. And here we think that this is the core of what transformation is about, winning the hearts of the people. And ultimately, I think this is where we have to engage further, and MERLIN would like to contribute to this challenge. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Sebastian, and also for the timekeeping. We have time for one question for Sebastian, please.
Thanks, Sebastian, for the talk. I have a question about, like, what are your thoughts, or what is MERLIN planning in terms of reaching this pan-European Green Deal objectives, and how do you merge them with the local stakeholder action implementation, so the difference in scale?
Yeah. It's about addressing, well, in MERLIN, I haven't talked about that, but we have various scales in MERLIN, and we start from the local scale, and this is where the action is going. And here we have devised a set of indicators which we can apply to the local scale, before, after, control, impact kind of style indicators. And I think there is a recorded presentation by Lawrence Cavallo, who is bringing more information to this.